Banishers, Ghost of New Eden is what would happen if you merged the detective quest from Witcher 3 with the combat from God of War and sprinkled in a little bit of possessed split protagonist from Shadow of Mordor. It's basically an amalgam of all three with an extensive narrative that will take you over 50 hours to complete. That's a lot of game for $50, but is it any good? The answer to that will largely come down to your personal taste in storytelling, as if you're a fan of New England folklore or interested in periods of time like the Salem witch trials, then you'll certainly be enthralled with this one. Otherwise, if that motif isn't your thing, then you probably won't be interested enough to see the game through to completion. As someone who grew up in New England, I'm definitely in the former camp and really enjoyed my time playing through Banishers. Is it perfect? Not quite, but for a AA title, it's certainly ambitious, and is really the kind of game that deserves support when AAA gaming is increasingly lackluster. So let's get down to brass tacks and start with the positives. The narrative, or storytelling in general, is very well written, and everything from the main quest to side quests are all interesting and full of compelling characters with really great voice acting. The lip syncing can be a little stiff, but the performances are so good that such details are easily overlooked. The atmosphere, music, and level design are all great. This game has a huge map that varies from foreboding forests to murky bogs to snowy peaks, and the drive for exploration never abates. The combat is pretty good, though progression is tied to the narrative, so don't expect to unlock all abilities and perks until you've put in more than 20 hours. At that point, the combat really takes off, giving you a very unique feel to your build, specializing in things like rifle usage or banishing techniques, though by contrast, early on, combat will feel very limited. Performance is excellent, and the game looks great. Running on the Unreal Engine 5, it features quick load times, no loading screens while you're exploring the massive world, and excellent performance. I think my game may have only crashed once, and I never had any stuttering or hitching of any kind on a 2080 Ti. For the $50 price tag, you're definitely getting your money's worth, as if you manage to complete all side quests and activities, you're looking at over 50 hours of content to get through. Next, let's review some of the negatives, of which I only have a few points to mention. The lack of New Game Plus means I have no desire to put in another 50 hours in order to make different choices to see a different ending. It'd be a different story if I could start the game again with endgame abilities and gear and focus solely on the consequential storylines, but as of now, one playthrough is enough. It's really too long to play through the story again without New Game Plus as a feature. Combat challenges were my least favorite part of the game. These occur as activities whenever you try to clear a spirit nest or traverse the void. Basically, all standard damage is nerfed, and the only impactful damage you can dish out against enemies is limited to whatever the provided instructions are for any given challenge. Typically, these do things like boost leap damage, but they'd be a hell of a lot more tolerable if they boosted specific attributes without nerfing the rest. I understand the devs are trying to educate the player on how to use different abilities, but nerfing all their damage is not the way to go about it. Lastly, it takes a very long time for combat to add new dynamics or skill trees. I clocked 6 hours just to get the rifle, and over 20 in order to unlock all abilities in general. It's not a huge issue given the breadth of the story, but those who only manage to play for a few hours will feel like the combat is significantly stifled. Overall, I really enjoyed playing through Banishers' Ghost of New Eden. It's the best New England folktale since Robert Eggers' The Witch, and it also gave me similar vibes to Tom Hardy's Taboo, which made me think if we ever get a sequel to this, that Victorian-era Banishers would be a great concept to follow suit with. For the reasons I've listed, I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10, as there's still some room for minor improvements, especially if the devs ever add New Game Plus, but I certainly think Banishers is worth your time, and that it's about as good as you could possibly get for a AA game. So be sure to support the Don't Nod devs and pick this one up whenever you get a chance. What'd you think of Banishers? Sound off below in the comments. As always, thanks for watching.
I'll see you in the next one.
Think with your idiot heart! You're weak!
What's that like to live deliciously? Yes. I cannot write my name.